Hi all, Varis here with Phot-Tech Tuesday. Each week I'll be bringing you new insights into photography, technology, art, and more. Bobby and I led a workshop in dance photography for the Boston Camera Club a few weeks ago. We constructed 4 studio lighting setups at the Old South Church in downtown Boston and had a number of dancers on hand to move about under flash and continuous light. I almost never shoot anything during these workshops because I'm so busy running around helping our participants get their cameras set, supervising the lighting, and generally troubleshooting. Anyway, this time around, I managed to shoot a few slow shutter speed images while participants were using the ProPhoto flashlights. My captures used only the modeling lights. That's the low power continuous lights normally used for positioning the flash, and shutter speeds of a quarter or half a second. I also shook the camera a bit during the exposure to generate a lot of blurry motion. While everyone else was concentrating on stopping the action, I was concentrating on conveying the motion. I ended up with a number of very blurry images that conveyed the motion of the dancers. So let's take a look. So here are some of the captures, and you can kind of see the sort of blurry effect that I was going for here. Just so you get the full picture, here's a typical capture that I did. And I'm also playing around with the settings. You'll notice here I've boosted the texture and the clarity sliders up all the way. Let's go over here, and if I look at my import, that's what it looked like right out of the camera. And you can kind of see here, there's a lot of very interesting things going on, but I wanted to crisp this up so that I could see more of this texture. So basically what I was doing was adding the clarity, and I boosted the white slider a bit, and then I boosted the texture. And you can kind of see when I've cranked these sliders up all the way, you're getting a lot more kind of swirly detail in here. And it also makes features of the face come out a little stronger. So anyway, I have several of these captures that I decided to blend together. So if you select all the ones, I'm going to say use, this was the composite that I did out of these layers. So my strategy here is I'm just going to add a bunch of these together in layers. So I put them together here, and I go under Photo, Edit in, and Open as Layers in Photoshop. So once I do that, I'm into Photoshop. And here we have the layers kind of show up like this. There's that top layer. If I turn them off, I can kind of see I've got 3 layers of motion here. And what I'm going to do is combine them using lighten mode. She's displayed against a dark background, so she's coming across as lighter than the background. So I want to add the lighter parts of each layer together. So I'm going to turn on this second layer here, turn on a little eye there, and instead of normal blend mode, I'm just going to change it over to lighten. And so you can kind of see what it does. It substitutes the lighter pixels for the darker pixels. So anywhere it can be lighter than the underlying image, this layer will show up. Now it's not lined up, so I'm going to use the move tool up here, and I'm going to just move this to try and line things up. And Photoshop really tries to it tries very hard to kind of keep things registered, but we have to kind of get the faces. I'm trying to get the faces together, so I'm going to end up with something like that. And now my top layer has the best looking face because I didn't move the camera. I just held it as still as I could, and all the motion is coming from her actual motion of her dress and her arms. But I got a pretty clear face there. So I'm going to add that on top. And again, in this case, I'm not going to use lighten because I want to kind of overpower the blurry image underneath just where her face is. So I'll reduce the opacity of this somewhat just so I can kind of see, and I see that I need to lower this down to get her face in the same general area as the rest of the figure. Now, I'm going to work at like, I think maybe 60% opacity here. And I'm going to add a layer mask. So what I really want is just her upper torso and her arms to display. And I want to preserve all of this frenetic motion underneath. So what I'm going to do is first add a layer mask. I'll click on this layer mask icon here, and I get a white layer mask. Now here's sort of the tip. When you're doing something like this, it's easier to paint out the areas you want to preserve because you can see them really clearly here. So I'm going to zoom in here, and I know that I want to preserve the face and the upper part of her shoulders and her arms. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use black as my foreground color for the layer mask, which is white. So the white's showing everything. And I'm going to now block off the parts that I don't want to show, or that I ultimately want to show. I'm going to actually erase them. So I'm painting with black into the layer mask. Now I'm obscuring all of the sharp face. And I'm going to kind of use just the upper part of the arms here. So I'm just painting with black. I'm essentially erasing everything. And I'm going to erase down here on this side. All right, so now I've sort of worked exactly the opposite of what I wanted to do. What I want to do is hide the rest of this sharp figure here and get at the blurry figure underneath. So what I have now, let's solo this layer mask here just so you can see what I did. I just painted out the parts that I ultimately want to show up. So while I'm here, I'm going to invert this layer mask, and you can do that over here, Image, Adjustments, Invert, or you can just do Command or Control I. And now, if we unsolo the layer mask, I'm holding on the Option or Alt key and clicking on the layer mask thumbnail here. So now you can see I've only brought back just that upper, a little bit of her shoulders and a little bit of her arms. And now I've preserved all of that kind of frenetic activity happening underneath here. And now I have this arm that's going out of frame, and I know that I also want to hide all that stuff up there. I'm going to sample this color of this background here. So I hold down the Alt or Option key, and that turns any painting tool. See, I've got the brush. It turns any painting tool into the sample tool. So I click on that, and now that color, which is close to black, appears right here. And I'm going to get a gradient tool, and I'm going to start my gradient right here. I'm using the foreground to transparent gradient. You can select those gradients under the basics here. I'm picking this one, which is the foreground to transparent, right? And oops, I got to have a layer here. Let's put a layer in there, and I'm going to now click and drag down to paint that gradient into that layer, and that sort of covers up that hand, blends it out so it looks like it's a shadow. So at least the hand is not going out of the frame at the top. And then I'm gonna crop here. I will not check delete cropped pixels. I want to preserve this in case I want to change my mind later. And I'm going to use a 4:5 ratio here. Get a little more square, kind of a little more rectangular sort of look to it here. And I can see that I'm cropping off the hand. And so what I'm going to do, let's apply this. What I'm going to do now is take that gradient and move it down so that I'm getting the shadow effect right at the top of the frame. So that way it doesn't look like her arm is going right out of the frame, and it just sort of keeps everything inside the frame a little bit nicer. Okay, and that's basically it. I might put a little gradient in here to darken this area down. So just kind of in this area here. And then I can, that's too dark, right? So there's another little tip. If you go to the edit menu right after you've applied a brush stroke or anything, you can fade. Here it is, fade, draw classic gradient. And now we can actually reduce the opacity of that last little gradient just to kind of darken that corner a little bit. And there you have it. I think now that's finished. Well, I hope this little tutorial inspired you to try out some ICM, or intentional camera movement shots, with this post-processing approach in your own photography. If you like this video, please give us a thumbs up, hit that subscribe button, and ring the bell so you don't miss another Phot-Tech Tuesday. And I'll see you next time. You might consider joining us for a travel adventure. Check out our trips and in-person workshops at our website, bobbyandleesphotoadventures.com. Our upcoming photo adventures for 2026 include Santa Fe, New Mexico, and Nova Scotia. Also, next year's Venice Carnival photo adventure is now live. Check it out on the website for more info. Thanks for watching. I look forward to seeing you on our next adventure.